Welcome, listeners. I am William 10th Floor Calaco,
I'm Anthony, as always.
and we have a new guest today stepping in for William.
Alan.
What?
His middle name's Alan.
His middle name is Alan?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. William Allen the Flake Bradley.
true.
Please state your name.
I'm Alison Ecker.
Nice. All right. So, the topic for today is going to be our plans for the future. And by that, I think this is going to be a good little look-see into the plans of three people who like kind of have plans but not really, and the way they see their lives going are not the way that they want their lives to be going.
Yeah, definitely that.
Anyways, Allison, would you like to tell us? By the way, Allison's one of our friends from town. Would you like to tell us just what like the 5-year plan is right now?
The 5-year plan. Well, 4 more years left of college. Just fiddling around, getting the engineering degree, and then move to Australia.
Fuck. Australia?
That's crazy. I didn't expect
And
that.
and then see what happens there, like farming,
Oh, yeah.
rocks.
I feel like this is going to eat up a good hour just unpacking that statement right
Yeah,
there.
that's cool.
Okay, so, but like, do you actually see yourself going to Australia?
Yeah. Like if I go somewhere else between this coming up year and like my senior year, then maybe, but like just like Australia is the only place I could like go to because can't learn their language and have to like move
Yeah.
somewhere. And Australia was like the only thing that would stop me is like the summers are like excruciatingly hot, but I
So,
sweat all the time, so it's fine.
so do you have any like idea in your head of like staying here, or is it like already like a foregone conclusion, Australia?
No, like I don't know what it takes. I don't even haven't looked up like how I can move there and like become a citizen or whatever. Like if
Well,
I get
you
a job.
are already a British citizen, right?
No,
No?
I didn't do it.
Oh, well, you could be, right? No, you're past 18.
Yep.
Yeah, you really shit the bed on that one.
Yeah, and I don't want to go to England.
No, but England, like, it's in the Commonwealth of Australia, so it would have been easier.
Yeah. Well, I met a girl that, like, when I was in Australia this summer, she was Irish. So, and she was a radiographer, so, like, all she had to do was take a grammar test to, like, live there for, like, her job. She said it was, like, hard, but it's a grammar test, so.
A grammar test?
Like, on the English language, like,
So,
knowing
like,
when to...
When you said grammar test, the first thing I thought was a Geiger counter. I don't know why.
What?
Is that random?
A grammar test, like how many grams do you want?
Oh.
Like that.
That's so weird. Now I know what you're talking about.
Why do you want to do Australia? So, what do you think Australia is going to offer you that's different than Texas?
Texas is... Australia is just a different, like, species. Like,
That's
not just
pretty
kangaroo.
That's really racist, first of all, but continue.
Like, everybody there is so straightforward. Like, they'll call you a cunt, and it's fine. And, like here, if you get called a cunt, it's, like, the worst thing in the
Huge, yeah.
world. And then everybody just kind of, like, lives their life. And they have, like, especially in the Outback, there's not really much to do. So, like, they find things to do. Like, they have the oldest river in the world, but it's always dry. So, like, they...
How do they have the oldest river in the world? Aren't all rivers the exact same age?
Not this one.
What? How could it be older than the Manitou River?
Well, Manatee River has changed its route, and this one hasn't changed its path in like...
Because it's fucking dry.
Yeah.
So,
This sounds a whole lot like a
wait.
ditch.
They have, like, a race where, like, you take, like, a boat. It's, like, a Flintstone kind of race, and so, like, you stick your, like, legs in it, and it's, like, supposed to be a boat race, but...
I thought you were going to talk about Aboriginal people for a second.
A little bit, but... And, like, they had to cancel the race one year because there was actually water in the river.
that is so, like, unfortunate that that's the year.
That's pretty funny.
So what's the, like, is the plan just, like, get off the plane and find something to do, or is it to have, like, a work visa before you go?
I don't know. I was thinking about being a truck driver there for a little bit.
But, okay, so, like, because this is something that I think about a lot, like, so, like, after college, or even now, like, just going and getting, like, a blue-collar job instead, just because I think it would be more fulfilling than, like, pushing around paper all day.
You're really on that, too.
Yeah.
He's on that.
If it'd be, like, more fulfilling to, like, actually do something, like...
Like to be a plumber?
Yeah, I mean, because like if you're a plumber, you fix something, right? Because like obviously like earnings aside, it would feel like you accomplished a lot more in one day if like as a lawyer, if you like, oh well, I moved this person's case, X amount further, but you just sat in the office all day long. Or, even if you made, 20 times less, as a farmer, at least like, hey, I planted a lot of crop today.
It's just like short-term versus long-term goals, I guess.
I've seen. I feel like trade school would be like a fun place to go because like you're like learning something that you're like actually gonna you're gonna use. Whereas like in college, like you can go to school and like you're gonna get a job and they're gonna teach you it all over again because like that's not what you learned in like college.
So, are you just going for the engineering degree just for the formality, basically?
I'm going to like the engineering degree is like a safe zone where like I know if I get a degree in engineering, I have a lot more options than if I did it. So like I like college, so I wanted to go. It's not like I don't want to go to college, but like it's not the the major I want. But if I change my major, then like I would start off with like a lower salary or like it'd be more competitive.
We should bring up that the college we're talking about is Georgia Tech, so we're talking about high level shit right here. But okay, that's interesting because like your plan A is the job that is what would usually be the fallback, Because, like, if plan A is be a truck driver, and, like, I guess plan B is be, like, an engineer, coming out of Georgia Tech and snapped up 100K starting. That's, like, your fallback and your primary choice are all mixed up.
I don't know. I feel like it's what you take out of it. It's, like, my biggest fear is, like, time, and I feel like we're running out of time with doing a lot of things. So, like, people that are going to, like, medical school and stuff, like, they're going to school for, like, 8+ years. And then, like, they're going to make a lot of money and then they can retire early. But I'd rather just, like, start right now.
We're on the same wave with the whole, like, well, kind of. Because my degree is chemistry and not as, like being a chemist is shitty. So I'm doing it for the formality of it. And I don't know what I want to do after that. But I'm just going to college because I think it's fun. And I like chemistry. I don't know that I want to be a chemist. I'm just doing it because I like it. But.
And me, myself, I'm a political science major who does not necessarily want to have a career in political science, but I am doing it because I like college and it's fun. So, do you have like a 5-year plan, or is it like completely unknown, Anthony?
It really is unknown, like truly. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I would like to maybe go to grad school, but again, like I don't want to be a chemist, but I would like go to chemistry grad school because I really like school. So.
I said something to my mom about what I want and how I'm not satisfied with what's happening right now. And she was like, well, you don't know, like next year you're going to have different feelings. And I was like, I can't imagine myself thinking differently than I am right now. Like, if I did, I feel like I wouldn't, it's not what I want.
I feel like you probably would. Like, I have, like, so many different opinions than I did 2 years ago. And I think, like, for example, like, so, like, when I'm in, like, I remember back in, like, middle school being like, oh, I'll become a lawyer, and I just haven't thought of anything better since then. But I know that like there's like a very good chance that I will go to law school, and then even then I'll be like sitting there like, oh yeah, this is like that plan that I came up with in middle school that just hasn't changed because I haven't like found anything that like interested me more, I feel like a lot of people like do that, but then I don't know, because it was like a sure thing so long ago, and now it's all, I have like so many doubts about like what I want to do. Who knows? Like, I bet like 3 years from now, like once all my friends start doing like careers, it's gonna be like a lot more pressing. Be like, all right, I gotta fucking choose something.
I agree with that for sure.
I feel like it's kind of worrying though because you're gonna take internships, and like obviously you don't have a lot of time to take all the internships you want, and you're not gonna get offered all the ones. But then, like if you get one and it's something that you thought you liked, and then you're like working there for a couple months, and you're like, this is shit. Then you have to really start back at step one.
That's internships kill me because you should obviously do the internships so like you can at least get some experience in the field to know if you want to do that. But there's so many other things that I want to do besides go like sit in like a law office,
Mm-hmm.
Like I really want to go to Brazil and just do it, like whatever it is. I just want to like land and like rent a car and just go, and then I'll end up in Chile at the end. But it would be like 6 months of me doing that. But you know what? I could spend those 6 months a lot better, like doing internships to get into this career that I don't necessarily want to do, but would be the financially best option.
I feel like we really need to like get on like the path where you're just kind of like, it's like YOLO. Me and your sister, like William's sister Sabrina, we've really been just trying to YOLO life up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic because usually like YOLO is like a stupid thing that nowadays, but I feel like it's really significant. So like I do something and I tell myself like when I decide to do it, like I'm not gonna regret this. Like whatever happens, I can't control it. I mean, like obviously you can control your decisions, but then your life's kind of
the
boring.
reaction of the decisions. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's also like a bit of a part of not worrying about what other people think, because you think about the people that we know and how probably like 30 years from now a lot of people are going to be like bankers or like, you know, like 6-figure jobs and stuff. If any of us, like for example, found out that we just loved installing air conditioners, like that was just our shit right there, and we're like, you woke up every day and he's like, I can't wait to install air conditioners. Then 30 years from now, people will be like, oh yes, like, you know, I work for the governor, and I'm in the Senate, and I'm, you know, a banker. Oh, what happened to William? Oh, he installs air conditioners.
Yeah.
People would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I would still be waking up every day being like, this is the fucking greatest, man.
Yeah.
That's how you gotta do it.
Yeah. It's so true.
So my sister is doing the same, she did the same degree I'm doing, and like her job right now, I was like, I would rather be homeless than have her job. Like, I don't care how much she's making. I don't care if she's, like, living in downtown. I was like, I could not do that to myself. No matter if I would be like, well, I can retire in this many years and not have to worry about it. Like, I'd rather have a job where I'm busy every day and I enjoy what I'm doing and I'm doing it for a long time. Because it's hard to find, like, new things to do. Yeah. So if you have, like, a job where you enjoy what you do.
Do you have, like, a dream job?
If I could be, like, Elon Musk, Virgil Abloh, and A$AP Rocky, I would be, like, really happy, but...
Who's the second guy?
He's the designer of Off-White.
What's Off-White?
It's, like, this really cool brand. And he,
it's really cool.
But he, like, also makes music and, like, does cool stuff. But that's, like, not a job. That's kind of something you, like, work for, and then maybe you... And I don't, like, have the kind of skill, at least yet, to do that kind of stuff, so... But...
A$AP Rocky's got a really cool life. He's a model, and he's a rapper.
Yeah.
But, like, it must be, like... There must be, like, a kind of, like, curve to being a rapper. Because, like, when you're on the come-up, you gotta be, like, hustling all the time. But once you get over a certain point, people are just coming at you with, like, good beats and stuff.
And I, like, don't want to be a rapper. I don't know what kind of music I'd make. But, like...
No, yeah, but I'm... Like, you think about, like, what rapping actually is. And it's, like, you know, putting lyrics on camera and stuff. But if you're, like... I mean, we know rappers. And, like, if you're like that, you gotta make the music video yourself. You gotta record it yourself. You gotta pay for the studio session. You gotta make the beat yourself. You gotta promote it yourself. It must be such a hustle. Once you get past, you know, a certain point of fame, there must be like, okay, well, the music video is already going to be done. Like, someone else is going to handle that. Someone else is going to handle the beats. Someone else is going to handle posting and stuff. All I have to do is write these lyrics and then sing them on camera.
And then, like, show up to the parties and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
I mean, it's probably a bit more complicated than that.
But still.
But, I mean, like, day-to-day struggle, it must go down a lot after you get, like, the amount of struggle you have to go through must go down a lot.
Yeah, it's all getting, like, thrown at you after a certain point, I feel like.
But then, like, you're not a creator anymore. You're just, like...
Exactly.
You're just,
or,
like,
I don't know, or are you, like, the most actualized, like, of a creator? Like, okay, so you saw that new music video that Tyler and A$AP Rocky put out, Potato Salad?
Yeah.
You think about how Tyler, Creator, and A$AP Rocky, I assume, wrote the lyrics to that, and I assume we're in the idea-making process, like, okay, yeah, we're going to go shoot it in front of the Eiffel Tower, and we're going to, you know, have these things on screen.
The shit on there, though, they didn't do.
I know, and they didn't do that, but, like, all they had to do was come up with the ideas and say, like, okay, I'm the idea guy, you guys are all, like, the actually do it guys.
And this is, like, really good to segue into what I was talking about with chemistry. That's all, like, if you get a chemistry degree, you're just, like, the lab rat. Like, all you're doing is creating someone else's shit, and that's the worst. Obviously, if you become, like, a professor or... I mean, if you get, like, some kind of cool funding from some cool company or cool person, you could do your own kind of research, but basically, that's, like, your job. You would just make stuff that you don't know really what's going on. I mean, you know what it's for, but you don't, like, have the creativity or the research aspect. It's just, like, you're a machine. Like, do titrations all day.
That sounds like mixing a rap video.
That's what I mean. Like even though it's cool that, like, oh, I'm part of A$AP Rocky's rap video, you're still just like a lab rat, just making some dumb shit for someone else.
I
So
think that's what like the world like lacks today is like surprises. It's just because you're so like so much has already been done before that like we thought like when they said we were gonna go to the moon, it was like not gonna happen, or it was just so surprising. But like now, like we're almost gonna go to Mars, and it's really not that surprising.
Yeah, and it's like we did that, kind of.
we did that. So but okay, so if you said your dream job was Elon Musk, that designer guy, and A$AP Rocky, like what would you see yourself doing? Like who could you like compare yourself closest to? I mean, you already chose those guys, but like A$AP Rocky and Elon Musk seem to not have a whole lot of overlap.
That's what I mean.
Besides the
That's
fame.
why it's kind of like a weird thing. There's just people that inspire me a lot, and I like those fields. Like I like STEM, and I like cool kind of music-y, fashion-y stuff. So
Those are two really opposite ends of the
and,
spectrum.
and like I have like this clothing brand thing, and it's also called Novice, and it's like binding the two together because I would like, read these like chemistry textbooks, and you'd see like really cool graphics, and like it doesn't matter if no one knows what it means, it just looks really cool, and like you can put it on a shirt, you can put it on some cool
like
stuff.
Bill Nye.
Yeah, I'm like the Bill Nye of clothing.
You can't call it Novice, though. I already trademarked this podcast.
I gave you the name Novice.
Yeah, well, I already took it. You shouldn't have given it to me because it's trademarked, and I've also registered this is a business. This is my plan for the future. I got nothing else besides this
Great podcast money, yeah.
We're going to keep doing this. We're sponsored now by Royal Caribbean.
If I could like live in like LA or like New York and then like get to travel a lot, it'd be cool. But it sounds so like cliche and dumb, but that's just what I'm on right now. Like I'd like to live somewhere big.
I think that despite recent news, my dream job would have been what Anthony Bourdain had. He had such okay.
Despite recent news, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why he must have had some. He must have had some other shit going on. But like from the outside, it looked like he had a great gig. Like he went around and wrote jokes about people, or like not like jokes, but like kind of like shit on people, and tried like their food and went around the world
He was
and did
like
all
a
that
critic,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but he was on TV. He had like an outlet to just like say anything he was thinking, but then he also got to go and see the coolest stuff on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed like a really great gig. Also, I've been you guys know who Henry Rollins is?
No, you mentioned him though before. I don't remember what.
I listened to some interviews with him. He has, I think, the most interesting life that anyone's living currently. What he does is so in his spare, like just for like months, he'll like go out somewhere. He'll go to like China or like he says that he's been to like 180 countries or something. He goes all the time, like Africa, Asia, South America, North America, Europe, the oceans, Antarctica, Australia, New Zealand, New York City, Dallas, Cincinnati, Orlando, Atlanta, all those kinds of places.
Atlanta?
All those countries.
He'll go there, and he says what he does is that he just walks around. Like he like lands, gets a guide, the guide shows him around for a little bit, and then he just goes out into the country and just talks to people. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go this direction today and see what I fucking find.
Was he filming it or
he takes pictures and stuff. But then he says that every day at night he goes back and like writes it all down, and then like he like writes it all in a journal that he has, and then he goes on speaking tours after that. So he'll do like months out on the road. Then he'll put together like an hour of a speaking tour, and then he'll just go around like the U.S. and the world and tell people about the shit that he saw, and he like puts it into a story. And he also he writes books about what he saw, but he also just goes on they're like spoken word tours where he just shows up in Atlanta and he's like, all right, well, here's everything that I saw in the past 8 months, and people just come and they listen.
He gets paid to do what everyone else does. So you go on vacation and then you tell everyone for a week what you did. Or he just gets paid
But I think
how do you get into that?
Yeah.
Well, he was in a band before. He had previous fame.
He was in a band.
Shit, we're in a band.
We the Kings.
He was.
He had previous fame, so people already knew who he was. But that still seems like such a great job to have, to just go and see the planet, and then just try to put it in kind of a poignant way and tell people about it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like kind of the head-ass job to have.
Yeah.
Another head-ass job to have would be being a therapist. Pay me so I can tell you what's wrong with you or how I think you should be.
That's true.
That seems like another head-ass job to have. To okay, here's what I saw and here's what I thought about it. Unless you have a really good point every single time. But I guess that's just, the talent of someone who is a good writer.
Another thing with therapy I think it's people like to talk to people and well, not always in confidence, but it's like a kind of like a relieving thing, kind of like a waste or not a waste. What's the place?
Relief.
The dump. You like go and like you say all your shit and then you leave.
If I ever become a psychiatrist, I'm gonna like have like a cool hip name on my psychiatry bill, like the dump. Come on down.
You know the guy that does the Virgin Enterprises?
Richard Branson.
If I could do what he did, but with like clothing, really cool exploratory science, music, and then like porn. No, I'm kidding, not porn.
I don't know. I mean, you think about it though. You could do porn. Like,
I don't
can you imagine if Elon Musk like revealed now? He's like, yeah, I did one porn one time. Like, he's so big now that people couldn't even knock him for it. It just become a really. Can you imagine if he? Whoa. What if he was actually the guy in the Ray J Kim K video? Like, what if that came out now?
Like he was Ray J?
Yeah.
Well, he's not black, so.
No, but like it was like he's Elon Musk. It was like, oh, it was CGI.
Oh.
Or like, oh, it's just in the shade. Well, what do you think you'd want to do more? Okay, I think it'd be really shoot for the stars, but I think it'd be really difficult to be simultaneously a fashion designer and a musician and a scientist.
Oh, that's like, even if it's hard to do it all at once, it's hard to do one, and it's so unrealistic and like not gonna happen.
But which way do you think you would lean?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe like clothing.
That seems like more fun, yeah.
It's a lot more fun. That's what I really enjoy, like doing more, because like the music thing is, you have to learn like science behind music, and I don't know it, so.
I feel like Steve Irwin really lived a good life.
He did what he wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
He really did what he wanted before anything like happened, where you couldn't do that kind of stuff. Like watching his like crocodile hunter videos, you like that shit would never be able to happen.
No.
Now, but he like.
Why?
Because like you can't like go up to like an island with like Komodo dragons and just creep up on them like 2 feet away or like less than that, and like producers be like, yeah, this is fine, or like not have people like attack you for like invading like native lands.
He would have gotten so much like social media flack for all the shit he did, but
like he had like his 2-month-old baby in the arena with the crocodile and was like playing around with him.
He
and,
had
like,
his fucking 2-year-old baby cage fight a Komodo dragon, and he was just screaming world star at her the whole time, and we fucking love him for it.
Well, like, they compared that to, like, Michael Jackson throwing his baby out the window, but...
Michael Jackson threw his baby out the window?
Well, like, yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Who was that guy who had his baby fall out of a window? There was a famous guy, he was a musician, and his, like, 5-month-old baby fell out of a window.
You're probably just, like, misunderstanding the Michael Jackson
Yeah.
thing.
No, I'm gonna look it up.
But, they, like, compare to him, like, bringing his child in, like, the crocodiles with, like, Michael Jackson doing that. And so, like, it stirred up a little bit, but they were like, no, it's Steve Irwin. Like, he knows the crocodiles.
He knows what he's doing,
and, like, it was totally fine. Like, he was still going strong. And, like, he, like, died by, like, a stingray. But if he didn't die, like, that way, it would have been so... If he didn't die by an animal, it would have been so...
Yeah.
Like, awful. Like, if he just died by natural means, like,
I agree.
no.
I think he kind of had to die from, like, a crazy animal thing.
Steve Irwin totally deserved it.
I've seen the video. I mean,
Steve, he was asking for it. He spent his whole life harassing alligators. Like,
we also just swam on top of a fucking, like, it was literally as bigger than this table, and he's just like...
But, like, I've seen videos of him saying, like, yeah, if I get hurt, it's my fault. And he was right.
It's like how Paul Walker said, I want to die going, like, 200 miles an hour, and he did.
Paul Walker deserved it, too.
Yeah, he died going fast.
It's a shame.
I feel like that's a good way to die. If that's how you want to die, and that's how you die, then, like, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been lame if he died of diabetes.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Eric Clapton's son. You know who Eric Clapton is?
Yes.
Good. He was 4.5 years old, and he fell out of a
49-year-old building. Just a random way down.
It was like one story.
The building was built in the 50s.
so insignificant to anything.
He fell out of Eric Clapton's 5.5-story son fell out of a 49-year-old building. Oh, that must have sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Actually, so it was 49-story.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about Charles? Who's that aviator? Lindbergh? Charles Lindbergh?
Yeah.
His son was kidnapped and murdered when he was like 1 year old. That can you imagine if that should happen today? We don't have any famous pilots now.
Yeah.
Welcome to your Delta flight. Oh shit, Sully, that's true. Well, okay, yeah, but that guy who landed that plane in the Hudson River must still be alive today. What if it was on the news now? It's like, yeah, you guys remember that pilot from 10 years ago? His son was kidnapped and murdered for ransom. Like, that must have been, but it was, even more crazy back then, because Charles Lindbergh was famous as fuck, for all that shit he did in airplanes.
Kind of on the topic, I see a lot of shit, or definitely hear it more. People, wishing that they weren't alive, today, right now. And I always disagree, just kind of based off the fact that stuff that used to happen, based off of how you would die, doesn't happen, regardless of, health. I'm just talking about, imagine being, different and then getting, your limbs ripped off in, the medieval times or something. You know what I mean?
I don't think when someone says I wasn't born at these times, I don't think anyone is, I wish I was alive in 1492.
I'm just saying, I'm so happy to be alive right now, rather than,
I agree it's good to be alive now, but I do kind of think about what it'd be like 40 years ago sometimes.
That's what everyone means, but then I just bring it to that extreme, you could get your limbs publicly ripped off.
I appreciate the depth of nowadays, today, and how people aren't just kind of they are fighting for things and stuff like that. But also I feel like we're taking it a wrong path with technology.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's cool that we have hoverboards and smartphones, but I feel like it takes away from human interaction.
Yeah.
Phones are supposed to be for talking, but it's not the same.
I was just thinking before we got here of how hard it is to not hard, but how much effort you got to put into hanging out with people now, because we're all here, we're 3 people hanging out, there's no one else around in this building. And also we had to text each other and arrange for this to happen. If we hadn't put the effort in for this to happen, we wouldn't be hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, and before this I was just hanging out in my room, in the suburbs. I was thinking about there must have been people just our age who lived, in some bazaar in ancient Persia back in the way old days, BC times. It was you woke up and you were right downtown anyways, and you lived in one room, and then a few feet away was all of your friends, and everyone you knew must have just lived in that same neighborhood by walking distance.
Just proximity, yeah.
Yeah, and but even there's even places now where just with proximity that so many more people or run into people, Well, have you heard that thing that in New York they have urban solitude?
No.
Apparently it gets worse when you go to New York.
I have heard that. Never
people
mind.
feeling lonely because even though you bump into so many people, everyone just stares at their phone or keeps their head down.
And
in
then
New York.
you live exactly where you work, kind of.
Yeah.
You don't there's Greenwich Village and Soho. You stay there. You don't go out. It's oh, I had to go uptown this morning. It was a big deal.
I wonder what the there must be certain countries that are much more sociable, just due to proximity and stuff. What do you think about those tribes in Africa? Must be super sociable because they don't have any contact, so all they do is talk to each other.
But they're still hostile to other tribes, for a reason, because they want their the protection of their own
When would we get
community.
over that? When do you think they'll come to our level? Not in the racist way, but it's kind of crazy.
Well, you meant it in the racist way.
I didn't mean it in the racist way, but it's we always think of Africa tribes, but there's a lot of Africa that isn't.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Africa's huge. My cousin, she's been to Ghana a bunch, and she's told me a bunch of stories. But you can look at Johannesburg, which is a modern city, or South Africa is so developed. But she said that the time she's been to Ghana, it's exactly as the stereotypes were, but she was on humanitarian trips anyway, so they were going to the least developed parts. But she said they would be yeah, like, it's just a village, and then at night they light a big fire, and everyone just comes and hangs out around it and, like, plays soccer. Like, it was, like, exactly, like, as we think.
And to think, like, you can live there and also have, like, what we're in right now, this building, and the differences, but it's at the same time. Like, it's funny, it's normal to think about it when the times were different. Even before technology. Like, I could see that happening in, like, 1910. Like, right now, why do you now want this, all this shit?
That was like in Guns, Germs, and Steel. They talked about why like the Western civilization is one that gained the momentum faster than the African countries, and like I haven't gone far into the book, but it was just like saying how they have like the resources and the tools and stuff. Like yeah, the climate's different, but just like why are we the ones like advancing, not them?
I think about like how hard it would be to improve a country. Because you think about, like, those really, like, shitty ones. Like, not, like, the Sahara, but, like, Central Africa. Like, the Central African Republic, that place is not good. And you think of, like, one of the biggest problems, like, corruption there. And how, like, if anyone, like, tries to, like, improve the country, the mafia will just kill you. Or if, like, you're, like, a dictator and you're like, you know what, I'm going to be a good dictator. I'm going to, like, you know, improve the lives of the people. Someone will just be like, all right, well, military, let's overthrow this guy so we can just, you know, keep our slice of the pie. Mm-hmm. I wonder, like, how do you ever get past that point? I think about it sometimes, like, trying to, like, fix these countries, and it just seems so impossible.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But, like, America, too. Like, so do you remember, like, in history class when we learned about, like, the Gilded Age, like, back in the 1910s when everything was, like, super corrupt? Remember they had, like, I remember they always brought it up, like, the Tammany Hall in New York, and how they had these political bosses who would just buy votes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was never like the president was super corrupt, but it was like levels down were like a lot worse. I wonder how we ever came back from that. Like, why would the elites ever make their slice of the pie smaller?
Maybe it's still like that, not to that extent. It's just not like out in the open as well. It's obviously not as like blatantly bad and like blatantly corrupt. It's kind of like low key stuff, but it makes a big impact that we just don't see. I don't know how it would work. Like, I can't think of an example, but if you put money in the right places, obviously things will, like, go your way. And there's a lot of people with a lot of money now, so.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, even more recently, that shit just happened in China. Like, China was, like, so poor. China was, like, obviously always a big power, but, like, China, like, the average Chinese person was so poor for the longest time. And then just recently, like, they had, like, a lot of shit to go through with, like, communism and stuff. But now, they're, you know, like, an average Chinese person is miles ahead of, you know, the average Chinese person 200 years ago. But you just got to be a historian to, like, look into that stuff and, like, find out what actually changed and why people's lives got better. I guess, like, sometimes it's just, like, a symptom of, you know that saying, like, a rising tide raises all boats? Mm-hmm. Like, as, like, just, like, the baseline went up in China, like, the baseline for everybody went up, even if people are relatively not better off.
The bell curve shifted.
Are you just saying that, or is that true?
No, I'm just saying that.
Okay. Fuck you.
I've been reading about universal basic income because, like, there was a bunch of stuff about robots taking over all of our jobs. So, like, all the jobs that we want, like, are
we want? Because I don't think the jobs that we want are going to take over. Well, maybe you.
Truck driving.
Truck driver.
Yeah.
Tesla. So he's going to be ASAP Rocky and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell people stuff.
But, like, one day, like, we're going to have, like, robots, like, with, like, that can reprogram themselves. So, like, they, like, update their systems, and then you don't have to do anything. Like, all you have to do, like, once you, like, make that system, then, like, the robot will, like, program itself to, like, keep advancing and, like, correcting errors that it has. So then, like, the only person that, like, has a job really is, like, the main overseer of it all. So,
I have been questioning that, because I have, like, I don't know a lot of code, but I, like, try to teach myself code. I haven't had a voice crack in a while because I'm around you. Voice cracks.
Yeah, thanks.
But what was I getting at? Oh, people always say like they have those AI that are gonna like realize that people are smart or dumber than them, and then they're gonna like code themselves to rebuild themselves if humans were to try to break them. Like, how can the way I've seen code is you just like it's all human based, like it's all input based. You can't like it's just input output. You know what I mean? How can you like make something like output? Then I don't know what I'm not good at explaining things, but how could something code itself?
Like if you give it like a new input that you've never given it before, like how can it produce something that like since you've never like given it?
You wrote the rules for it.
Yeah.
And it's not like rules in soccer. Like you wrote the rules that can't be broken for it. Like it's just running them constantly. You know, like all the little binary things just constantly running inside of it. How can it create its own rules? I don't know.
I don't understand either, but I was like researching into it and about how just like there's certain. I took like a physics class and it was like momentum and stuff. So like they'd be like build this entire program and then it was like now change this one piece and like you change. Like you said, like you change an input, but the whole thing reacts like differently. Like I coded it to like move in like a circle and then like now it's like moving in like a spiral, but it's not. It's just because like I changed one thing. I don't really know how like you can get it to work.
You guys both sound like such first year STEM majors. Like let me bring up the topic and then completely fuck it up.
Yeah. I know. It's just hard. I don't know anything.
But this is kind of on the other thing that I wanted to talk about, like the what is a thought question, because that has like something to, like AI too. Like you would wonder like how would you like program AI to like think or remember something, and I suppose that a thought is stored somewhere in your head, like even though like obviously like nothing, like your brain doesn't get heavier or like it doesn't. Like when you store say when you store like a Word document on your computer, it's somewhere, right? Like it's like magnetically stored. So, do you know like how computer storage works at all?
I feel like you told me about it before.
I told you.
It's in like I mean it's just like a document that's. Are you asking like where does it go? Because there's space on a hard drive.
Is it actual space?
No, it's like me. There's like space on this board right here, and it's all on letters.
Yeah.
Like you're eventually gonna run out of space, but letters. That's all it is.
Okay, so but it is physical space.
And it's digital space.
Is digital space have any relation to physical space?
I mean, it's the same type of like volume capacity. Like there's a maximum volume, but I don't know like how to describe digital space to you. It's like basically like an empty palette. It's like having a canvas, and then you're putting things in the canvas until the canvas is all built up.
Okay, so that sounds like it's physical then.
Well, I'm physicalizing the digital space because there is just a digital space that you have to imagine.
Okay, but it fills up eventually.
With like little things like that.
So does a brain do that?
Well, that's what we were getting at before. I think it's chemically it fills up. I think. Oh, and I said electronically, and you laughed, but I meant like firings or something. I don't know. Like I know that the brain has more connections as it goes on, so that's all I know from AP Psych.
Okay, so these connections, is there a limit? I mean, I suppose there'd be a limit then to how many we could have. Maybe that's just Alzheimer's. People who remember so much shit that they start forgetting it.
Yeah, it's just reverse. They start like spam deleting everything.
Well, is that what Alzheimer's is? Like your connections start breaking down so you can't remember things?
I mean, it's probably the basis of it. I don't really know a lot about that, but I know that I see that commercial and they talk about the chemical they found in jellyfish, and then they talk about how that helps keep the brain connected.
You know that chemical they found in jellyfish? Jelly?
Jellyfish jelly. SpongeBob found it. Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because we didn't talk about it. What's your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan?
Oh, the Brazil thing or no?
I do want to go to Brazil.
And like, what do you see yourself doing, kind of? Because we got a really cool perspective over here. My unknown perspective of being 3 people. What's like your perspective on who you want to be?
Okay, so the straight and narrow right now is that I will complete my 4 years of undergrad, then go on to law school, and then I either enter like the law practice, or something I was thinking about today that I really like to do is join the Foreign Service. And like because there's a lot of cool jobs you could have there. You can go be an ambassador to any country. I read about this one job that people have is where their job is to go and interview applicants for asylum to the United States. So you can like it's like your job to like go and like work in any country, and like if someone's like, yeah, they're gonna kill me if I stay here, then you gotta like vet them and like see if they're telling the truth about seeking asylum. But there's a lot of jobs just like that, where you go out and do work internationally for the government. I think I'd like that. But another thing is that I don't really want to work for the government, because, like, another thing I really want is to be my own boss, because, I don't know, just...
Create your own government.
Someone So that would be like, being in, like, a lawyer or something would be like having the control of my own, destiny and work hours and everything. But then that's just pushing paper around, which is also, like, something that I don't necessarily want to do. What I should do is just move to Los Angeles with no plans and just walk out of the airport and see what happens. I feel like that would be the most interesting way to go about it, but also the stupidest way to go about it.
That's, like, my plan after, however, the extent of my college life. The next thing would be, like I said, move to one of those cities. I don't know what I'm going to do, but...
It's so easy to, like, not die now, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could do that, and you're not going to die. You're just probably going to be, like, homeless or, like, starve a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, you're not going to die.
There's
if
places for you.
Yeah. So, it's really possible.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
If you die.
To have a degree and be starving on the street. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about, just moving somewhere with, like, no plan?
Australia.
Well, yeah, but she's got the plan to be a truck driver.
And she
I don't know, but do you really think you're going to be a truck driver? Or, like, do you think, like, in your head, like, is it the actual reality, or is it just, like, a fun idea of what's going to happen?
It's, like, what I want. Everything that I'm not satisfied with now, I think of what I'd rather be doing at that moment. And then I'm like, I would much rather be, like, motorbiking down the road, like, with a sleeping bag.
With a fucking bitch on your back.
Yeah.
And just, like, not having to, like, not necessarily having, like, no responsibilities, but just kind of taking it day by day. Like,
See?
not having to, like, worry about
that sounds like a
my
lot of
email.
fun. Oh, that's what I want to be, Anthony. A drifter. But, like, but, like, a cool drifter,
One that's, like Instagram famous.
And, all right, I know that we shit on vlogging so much the last time, but being a vlogging drifter would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or, like, yeah, I guess being a journalist would be kind of fun.
I mean,
because they're kind of drifters.
You go to the most important stuff if you're like David Muir's dude, like, what's it called, Nightline or something? His people are, like, in the hurricane. Yeah. In the earthquake, just like, hey.
Yo, the shit.
I'm here now.
Look at it. Being a drifter and, like, see, that's the thing. I really want to, like, I would love to be a not like a poor drifter though, like a cool, like I would want to be like a drifter with only the positives and none of the negatives. That's the kind of drifter I want to be. Just like the fabulous stories that you hear afterwards, not like the day-to-day shit. I'd be that kind of drifter for like 10 years, and then at the end of it, I'd start a family with like a 6-figure job. No, with an 8-figure job.
And then come out of the closet.
Yeah, then come out of the closet, start porn, and now I'm starting porn when I'm like 60.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old Kim Kardashian's gonna be then, but she's gonna be in her
like 30s.
Yeah, at least her 30s. Wait, can you look at how old Kim Kardashian is?
It's on the back of that yellow rice thing.
Oh yeah. I forgot that Uncle Ben's instant rice has Kim Kardashian's age on it.
Kim Kardashian age counter.
How old do you think Kim Kardashian is right now?
Probably like 38.
38. So 38. When I'm 60, how old am I now? Let's just say I'm 20.
No, she's probably 40. Kim Kardashian, I did. 37.
She's 37.
Kanye's 41.
So 40 years from now, she'll be in like her 70s. So I'll shoot a porn with Kim Kardashian, release that one video, and then go back to being a drifter. So that's 10 years of drifting, 3 years of career, 1 porn, back to drifting.
Wow. I mean, it's unrealistic, but possible.
Yours is unrealistic, too.
I know.
You got the only realistic plan right now.
Thanks.
Truck driver, which is probably not realistic because that's going to get automized.
The drifter thing. The only thing that was like not realistic was the Kim Kardashian part. Like, you could totally do the other thing, and if you came back for 1 year and then like somehow like won the lottery and then you went back.
Yeah, winning the lot. Ooh, we didn't even think about winning the lottery.
Yeah,
that'd be a good one.
But like, like banging Kim K on tape.
I want to get in like a band, but not try hard for it.
I totally feel that.
Yeah, because like you always hear stories about people like just like going and like trying their hardest and like struggling for like years. I want to like record a bunch of songs, release them on the internet, not talk to any record executives, just get big on the internet.
That's what I'm saying.
I want a Chance the Rapper it. Isn't that what he did?
Well, the thing with that route is you have to do a lot of, well, I guess maybe not now, but there was a time, like Mac DeMarco, he was doing that, and you have to just, like, go and do a bunch of dumb shows at, like, very small venues and, like, live a shitty life for,
But that fulfills my Drifter dream at the same time.
Oh my god, you actually should be in a band.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to do with music. Solo, or a band.
See, I've been trying to get a band together, but it's, like, when people, like, are, like, see, even I am still, like, just fucking around. And, like, when everyone's fucking around, nothing gets done.
Because, like, yeah. Well, the one time when we all got together, I mean, there were other factors involved, but, like, you were just, like, playing your own shit.
That's what happens.
And, like, yeah, everyone was, like, on their own stuff. It was just not, like, a collective, so.
Also, do you guys ever feel like you think you're the shit until, like, the rubber hits the road and you realize that you don't actually have, like, the necessary skills for a certain thing?
Yeah, but that happens, like, daily, and then I, like, overcome those little, like, I become the shit by the end of the day. It's really weird to think about, but I, like, try to overcome that hurdle, and then I'm like, oh, I'm the shit again.
That seems like a good way to do it, though. That just seems like self-improvement.
Yeah.
But, like, okay, I feel this way a lot when I talk to my dad, because he's a smart guy, and, like, we'll argue about something, and, like, I'll walk into the argument thinking that I have, like, a rock-solid argument, and then he'll, like, shoot it full of holes. And I'm obviously not going to admit to him that I'm wrong, but, like, it makes me feel like shit afterwards. Like, 'cause I was like, oh, I guess I'm not as smart as I thought I was.
Yeah.
But and I think that happens, like, but, like, for example, like, the times that we've gotten together to, like, try to make a song, I'm always like, oh, yeah, well, I'll just, like, write all the lyrics and write all the chords and write all the melodies. And then once we actually, like, get in the garage to, like, do it, like, it's a lot harder than it is on paper. But it's just that way with everything.
Yeah.
Except Uber driving. Uber driving's exactly as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Uber Eats recently, and, like, if you could order, like, Uber Eats and then get it delivered to the same place, like, would they catch on? Like, if you got Applebee's and you're, like, delivered to Applebee's.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I guess you could order Uber Eats if you're sitting in the Applebee's dining room and you don't want to, like... Well, no, because Applebee's brings to the table. What you're going to want to do is, like, get a place like PDQ or, like, Wendy's, because those places have dining rooms, but you still have to go up and pick it up. So if you're, like, 800 pounds, you're going to need someone to go get it for you, and that's worth it. Because Uber Eats, they charge you... It's $1 per mile for the delivery, and then, like, $2 for the pickup and $1 for the drop-off. And you got to pay all of that as a consumer. So if it's 0 miles, then that's pretty much paying someone $3 to go and pick up your stuff for you.
No, you're just there. Like, it's like you guys meet at Applebee's.
Like, you're waiting in the parking lot, and then they go pick it up from Applebee's, and then they just, like, come to your car.
And
yeah.
Then you kiss, right?
That's like code writing itself, like we were talking about before.
Fuck, like, wait, what are those like Google self-driving cars are gonna start doing the Uber Eats stuff? It's like, and now I'm gonna kiss the recipient. They program themselves to have mouths.
Yeah.
Wait, where would the lips be on a car? Well, I guess it'd be like in the front.
Have you
the
seen Cars?
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
I was thinking, what's that one? Herbie?
Fully Loaded.
Oh, fuck, okay. Whenever these get released, I also want to, like, release, like, a 5-minute video of Anthony making out with a car.
Yeah, that can happen. For the gram.
What would happen if you just, like, walked into, like, Ferrari and, like, kissed one of their cars?
They definitely would freak out.
Yeah. Oh, we should do that, too. That's what this podcast... We're gonna turn into Elon Musk and A$AP Rocky and, like, prank videos and Joe Rogan.
But they're not videos, it's just prank podcasts. So we're just walking with a mic.
Some Italian guy yelling at you, "Get out of my store!" All Ferrari owners are Italians. Did you have something to say? You were opening your mouth.
I was trying to breathe. I was thinking about how, like, I can't remember what you were talking about earlier, but it was about, like, learning everything and how you get to, like, the point where you're like, shit, I don't actually know how to do all of this.
Yeah.
But it's about how, like, you want to know everything at once. And, like, you could easily read everything, like, about everything, but then you're not going to remember it. Like, you have to do that repetition, and I don't understand what repetition is that, like, makes it stick into your brain rather than just, like, reading it once and, like, knowing it.
I feel that way a lot with practicing Portuguese. If I could just bring this up every podcast. So, like, it's true. Like, you can, like, look in the dictionary and read stuff, but that ain't gonna help you. I mean, that will help you. I mean, like, it introduces you to the word. But I find that, like, you don't really, like, remember it until you, like, use it in a situation. And, like, what I've been doing is, in the whole Tampa Bay area, finding, like, Brazilian restaurants and going and talking to people. And I feel like that's, like, the best way to do it. But it's probably that way with everything. Like, you could, like, read about how to do a math problem, or you could actually, like, go and do it at a Brazilian restaurant. That's probably the best way. Probably the Brazilian restaurant's the most important part.
But it's also, like, if you like something, then you're going to remember it more than, like, if you don't like something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, guys can recall porn videos like that. We both knew the Kim K video.
Yeah.
Do you know the Kim K video? Have you actually seen it?
Mm-mm.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Of Kim K?
Are there any famous porn videos for girls? No.
There's one. No.
There's one. No. Not that one.
No. There's, like, ones of rock stars, but nothing Alison would be like, I need to see Tommy Lee have sex.
We should do the Wikipedia segment now.
Okay.
You guys got to talk about something while I find it. Go.
Alright, I have a question.
Okay.
What's one thing that you would want to relive, or, like, wish you could, like, re-experience?
That's a really good question. Like, one... Well, I'm not going to ask the technicalities of it. I think it would be cool to be in, like, kindergarten again.
Yeah.
Or, like, a baby, and, like, but know what was going on.
And, like, change the way you're a baby?
Oh, no. I just meant, like, being held and, like, fed bottles. But I guess you meant in a more...
No, I mean, like, that would be... I didn't think of it that way.
You meant, like, an instance of my life, maybe?
No, I was just wondering to see, like, what's something that, like, you really enjoyed or, like, that, like, popped up into your head.
Yeah.
Or something that, like, you were like, wow. Because, like...
Kindergarten, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I'd want to, like, re-experience the Titanic, like, watching the Titanic for the first time.
Oh, you were getting... watching the Titanic for the first time?
Yeah.
I thought you meant, like, go to the Titanic and, like, be there.
No, like, something that I've, like, already experienced or already, like...
You love the movie that much?
I just feel like it's something that's so, like, ridiculous that they, like, called it the, like, unsinkable ship. And, like, the thing that for it to happen was to sink, but, like, it didn't just sink. It literally, like, broke in half. Which I think is, like, it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't, like, fathom it. Like, I know it happened, but I just feel like there's so much more to it.
Wait, so you want to...
I want to rewatch, like, I know, like, before I watched the Titanic, I knew what happened. I was like, alright, this ship, unsinkable, broke. Titanic is, like, a fake movie about it. But, like, watching the Titanic was really, like, because you can, like, see it.
Oh, okay.
And then, like...
Are you talking about actually seeing the Titanic sink or watching the Titanic?
That's
No,
what I was
like...
thinking. Like, do you want to see the Titanic sink, or do you want to see Leonardo DiCaprio? Like,
No, I
have
was
sex with Kim K in the shade.
No, like, I just want to, like, re-watch the Titanic. Because I know I was young. And it was, like, the first movie, and it was, like,
I haven't seen
long.
it.
You can watch it. We can rewatch it right now.
No,
on the
but,
podcast.
like, have that, like
Or she was just
complete
like,
new...
Yeah.
Yeah.
New feeling.
You want to, like, learn about the Titanic again? Or just, like, already know about it but then see the movie?
Well, I knew about it, but then, like, seeing the movie is, like, a different story. That's like reading, like, a book and then seeing the movie. But, like, a little bit different, because I didn't read the Titanic book.
Right. Anyways. Now that's over. I have the Wikipedia page here. and it's called The Lizard Man of the Scape Ore Swamp.
Wow.
So, in the folklore of Lee County, South Carolina, the Lizard Man of Scape Ore Swamp, also known as the Lizard Man of Lee County, is an entity said to inhabit the swampland of the region. First mentioned in the late 1980s by a local 17-year-old, the purported sighting yielded a significant amount of newspaper, radio, and television publicity. According to Lee County authorities, another local man admitted to fabricating the story about encountering and shooting the creature because he wanted to keep the legend of the Lizard Man alive. So here's the story. In 1988, 17-year-old local Christopher Davis claimed his car was damaged by a creature he described as green, wet-like, about 7 feet tall, and it had 3 fingers, red eyes, and skin like a lizard, and snake-like scales. Coverage by the newspaper and media resulted in increased attention for his claims. Local businesses began selling Lizard Man t-shirts, and the local Chamber of Commerce encouraged the media's attention as good for the community. The increase in newspaper and media publicity prompted further reportings and sightings, and the area soon became a tourist attraction for the visitors and hunters.
Well, my first reaction to that story is like the things that come to mind of backwoods South, like
That does sound very backwoods South.
kind of like they're dumb or something. I'm supposed to think, but I mean maybe he really did see it. I don't know.
Have you ever heard of the skunk ape?
I was just about to say the skunk ape or
No.
swamp ape.
He's like the same thing we had. It's like a Florida-specific thing, though. The skunk ape is this big-ass monkey thing who, like, lives in, like, Hillsborough County. He
Harrodsboro.
lives in Harrisboro County and just, like, eats people's dogs in their backyards. But they got the same thing here. They have chupacabra.
Like Sasquatch.
Sasquatch, too. There are people who really... Can you imagine if that was real?
I feel like why wouldn't it be?
What do you mean, why wouldn't? Are you about to tell me you're a Sasquatch believer?
I feel like if someone were to like see that, it's so possible. I feel like that's such a possible thing.
I feel like we already have, like, monsters. Like if you had never seen a bear before, you'd be like, that's a fucking monster. You know?
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I've been scared of bears. Like, when I was in, Wyoming, we went to Grand Teton way too early. It was still a good time, but we went way too early in the season. Like, there was snow everywhere. But it was, like, it was May, and I thought it was going to be, like, May in Florida, but it wasn't. It was, like, May in Wyoming. So it was still snowing and stuff. And we were going to go camping, but we had to stay in the car, first off because of the snow and how cold it was. But we were going, like, deeper and deeper into the forest, and it's dark, and we have, like, no signal, and we're like, well, we can either keep going or turn back. We gotta make a decision before we, like, run out of gas. And we, like, pulled over at, like, this one pull off in the middle of the woods, and there it's, like, cold and snowing, and just we passed at this point maybe, like, 50 signs that say, like, bears, like, watch the fuck out, kids. And so I remember that was just, like, a stressful night, because I remember we couldn't, because it was gonna get hot in the car, so we had to, like, leave, like, the windows, like, a crack open too. And then I just remembered, like, settling in for, like, the night with, like, my blanket over me in the driver's seat. And, like, looking up, and then, like, the sky, it was, like, in the middle of nowhere, so, like, the sky is, like, completely, like, devoid of clouds, but also so many stars, like, the darkness and the stars were, like, fighting for real estate in the sky, and I'm there in my blanket, I'm like, man, we're really fucking out here, there's definitely, like, a bear, like, right behind the car right now. That was the most worried I've ever been about bears, but, like, there's all those, like, sharks, those things are monsters. Just because they're common, we don't call them monsters.
That's real. Yeah. I agree.
I think like Sasquatch or like there are other beings that like have the same like everybody says like we're the only like species that have like a mind, like can like think and whatever. But like that I feel like that's not there has to be something else that like can do the same thing.
But they're hiding, you think?
Yeah, like it's so easy to hide here. Like
you think? Well, okay, that's it.
Like
so
into
you think
the
there's
wild,
like a secret society?
Maybe, but there could just be like random randos out there that aren't human. Like
they haven't evolved.
They like have like the same like consciousness, or like they're like aware and like strategies, but like it's so easy to hide yourself from people if you're in the right area.
I don't know. Maybe it's dolphins. Like you've heard like how people say dolphins are so smart, and elephants. Like people say elephants are smart too. Maybe they're like highly aware of what's going on. They just are so much like more physically able than us, so that it doesn't bother them as much.
But why would they only be in the woods? You know.
What do you mean?
Why would these creatures only be in the woods and like only come out? Only be seen sometimes. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like how there's different like niches.
I'm not talking about like why is the woods the spot, but like why wouldn't they be? Like why wouldn't they come out? You know what I mean?
That's because they know like this isn't their area, and like they can't.
Oh yeah, well I agree, but
so you mean
we're like coming into their shit.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how is that not crossed? Where like we were like digging through some woods and like building golf courses, and then one just like came out.
What do you think your least favorite genre of book is? I swear this has something to do with it, but
maybe like fantasy.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
Like romance.
Yeah, true. That too.
I hate fantasy books because I think there's so much interesting stuff in the world already, and like fantasy books, like you're like wasting your time like reading about something that just some guy thought up, and like I think about like when we like
or girl.
J.K. Rowling. You think about like the dangers of like the Sasquatch, and like people are like, yo, the skunk ape, chupacabra, it's gonna get you. There's like real, actual schizophrenic murderers out there who are like actually gonna get you.
Yeah.
Or like there's actual car accidents or like, you know, drugs that are gonna kill you.
We just read books about car accidents.
Well, I mean, there's been so many like documentaries like dedicated to the chupacabra, but there's probably a whole lot less, you know, dedicated to car accidents.
This just plays into like how humans are. Well, they like to be distracted by like the real world and then like live in another place.
I feel that way.
Like drugs, you know, but you're not getting there. Sorry.
No, I feel that way when like I'm done watching TV or like I'm done like on the internet or something, and then like I immediately after like go outside, and like I've just been in that like internet TV world for like an hour, and then like immediately I'm like, oh, I'm just on the street now.
Yeah.
And like I could like look at my hands like these are real as fuck.
Yeah.
Compared to like, you know, videos about 10 cool things you didn't know about Canada.
Watch Mojo.
I hate Watch Mojo. Watch Mojo never gets to the fucking point. Do you ever find that? Like
yeah,
they have like list 10 videos that take 15 minutes.
And then yeah. There's lots of things that can be said about Watch Mojo, but
fuck Watch Mojo. Fuck Cassidy Cosgrove.
But Mojo, if you're watching, if you're listening, we love you.
That's not true. Just Anthony does.
I kind of do.
The only TV I've watched recently has been like TLC. It's like my mom will have it on, and like I can't like I feel like the shows there, everything is scripted. Like there's nothing that's real anymore.
Definitely.
But people still enjoy it, and I think it's so obvious that it's like scripted.
Yeah, it totally is.
Do you ever see a TV show that's like comically stupid or like
that's like TLC.
Yeah.
Like
Little People Big World.
Little People Big World.
I walked into my house today and playing on the TV was like My Big Fat Pet Life, which was like about people making their pets lose weight. Like my cat's 30 pounds overweight. My cat's 50 pounds overweight. Let's get him down to size. And people would just be like sit there and like contently watch people make their cats exercise.
I feel like I'd rather watch that than like Say Yes to the Dress, because at least you know that it's gonna be ridiculous and like it doesn't really have a serious side to it.
Yeah.
Or, like if it does, it makes it even funnier.
Yeah,
like,
I mean at least
you're supposed to like.
At the end of the cat one, you could at least be happy that the cat lost weight. But you don't even get the dress at the end of Say Yes to the Dress.
I don't like TV. Like, I don't really like Netflix either. I'm like specifically YouTube, like only. But like real TV sucks now.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm recently only into one show, and like the only show I've been into in the last 6 years maybe. Is there's just one show on Netflix called 3%, and to bring it up again, but the reason that I'm watching it is because it's Brazilian, and so like I just watch it with I watch it like with the Brazilian subtitles on, just for like practice and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like invested in it now because I'm like 15 episodes in, but it's the only thing I've gotten into. Like when if you ever actually try to watch like TV shows like week by week, you get so pissed off by the commercials. And like there's some channels that like go way too far with it too. Like my dad.
Like the radio.
My dad watches Rachel Maddow like every night, And I swear to God, she's on for like a minute and a half between like commercials. But she's just got a cult following, and they'll follow her to the end.
Commercials are... When I was younger, I always thought, like, what does this matter? Like, these things... Someone showing me a commercial isn't gonna, like, drive me to buy it. And I was, like, 7 when I was thinking about this, but now I realize it's just about exposure. That's the end of the story.
That's like in The Truman Show. And, like, that movie. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
And they have, like, the sneaky bits where, like, the guy will, like, push him up to the wall and, like, talk to him, but it's, like, an ad.
Yeah.
And it's, like, the exposure.
I thought we were describing a porn for a second. Push him up to the wall. In the shade.
It's a show.
Elon Musk in the shade.
Looks exactly like Ray J. Do you really think commercials are just about exposure?
Yeah, because, you know, like, everyone needs... well, not everyone, but when you need the car accident help, like, legally, you've been exposed to 1-800-ASK-GARY too many times, so you're just going to be like... I mean, obviously, if you have, like, a good lawyer, you wouldn't, but if you're the average person, you're going to be like, I guess I should use this. Like, I've seen it a bunch of times.
That's a good point.
Versus my 1-800-ASK-ANTHONY, and that hasn't been taken off because I don't have the ad.
Do you, like, I don't know, there's some ads that I find, like, are effective, though. I remember one time I saw an ad, and it was so straight up. It was, like, it's just, like, a red background and, like, big white letters and, like, some guy talking like this. He's like, hey, are you a man? And I was, like, sitting there, like, yeah. He's like, do you want to keep your hair? Well, then you need this, and it's, like, exactly as I'm saying, like, so, like, blunt. It's like, do you want to keep your hair? Then you need to buy this shampoo to, for increased longevity of your hair. And I was sitting there, like, well, shit, I want to keep my hair. And so now, that was, like, a year ago, and I still remember that commercial. And I remember this next commercial for the exact opposite reason. I remember it was a Stride gum commercial. And it was like, Stride's going to be there when you're, like, when you have your family moments. And it shows, like, a dad and a daughter. It shows, like, a dad and a daughter. It shows, like, a dad and a daughter, like, through the ages, like, chewing this gum and, like, hugging. It's, like, his first day of school, and he, like, hands her a piece of gum to go to school. And, like, it's, like, college graduation. She, like, hands him, like, back, like, a pack of gum with, like, I love you, Dad, written on it.
Oh, I saw this one. Yeah.
No one ever is going to be like, oh, this is a big moment in my life. Gotta chew a piece of Stride gum right now and then fold it into a crane or something.
Yeah.
But it's like with Super Bowl commercials, like, usually the big ones are like Doritos, and like everybody already knows about Doritos. Why do they have to have a commercial?
Yeah.
Because they're hilarious.
Yeah. But so then, like, those commercials, I feel like, aren't really for...
Exposure.
Yeah. Or, like, I mean, they are, because they're there and they know they're going to be, like, millions of viewers, but...
Probably Doritos sees a bump from that. Because probably people buy Doritos.
Or, like, exposing the new generation.
People buy Doritos for the Super Bowl, so probably the CEO is just sitting in his office like, fuck, I feel obligated.
I saw this dumb tweet, like, in middle school or high school, whenever I, like, first got to Twitter, and it was, like, off that, like, gentleman's Twitter. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, you know how they have, like, shit baseball players stay and those white girls? This one was, like, young gentlemen, and the picture was, like, you don't ever see Bentley doing ads because everyone knows they're, like, great or something, but, like, that's true.
That's a good point. There's this Mexican grocery store here in town called Acapulco, and they have these, like, the best, like, Doritos. They're, like, spicy. They're obviously, like, tortilla style. But you'd never see them advertised anywhere because they only, like, sell in Florida.
Takis?
Yeah, Takis. But it's another thing. You know those Beats headphones?
Yeah.
I've read online that, like, if, like, people who are, like, actually, like, audiophiles think they sound like shit. And there's, like, way better ones that, like, people who, like, know a lot about audio quality use. But they put all of their budget into production value instead of advertising. And Beats goes the other way, as they, like, make kind of, like, not, like, bad, but, like, not as good headphones. But they just put all their money into advertising, and they ended up selling more.
Yeah, they have, like, everyone wearing their headphones in their commercials, dancing, so.
Beats must have a crazy endorsement budget. Because then every time you see a soccer player, like, get off a bus, he's always wearing Beats headphones.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's kind of scary. Like, everybody's morphing into one.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say buses.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Trucks are fine, but
being on
buses.
the bus. That's...
Vlogs, fuck that. Podcasts, yeah.
Yes. I always say that my least favorite, like, theoretical job would be a bus driver. Truck
like
driver.
A school bus driver?
No. like a school bus would be
Prison
fun.
bus driver.
No, like you know the people that have to drive.
Yeah.
A group of people in like a
to the
big
prom.
bus. No, I'm trying to think of an example. I guess like driving a bunch of people to like a camp or something, like a charter bus. I would hate to be a charter bus driver. And you just have to like get there, and you know it's like a 12-hour ride. You get there at 2 a.m, and no one gives a fuck about you.
Because they're all singing their songs in the back. And
Yeah.
Do you remember going on field trips back in elementary school, and then you just get back and the bus driver was still there?
Yeah.
Like, did you just chill?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
they just sit there.
No one cares about you, literally. Who's knocking on the 5th
We're
floor
on
window?
10th floor.
10th floor.
Someone's throwing stones.
It's Zach Rogers.
Put your hair down.
He's a pitcher.
Put your hair down.
I don't know. If you're a bus driver and you've got like 4 hours while the kids are there, that's enough time to hit the bar, get day drunk, and then get day sober.
Day sober.
Day sober, all in that same amount of time.
Well, that's promoting drinking and driving while a bunch of kids are in the bus. So.
But then you have all those eyes on the road.
True.
Yeah, that's a good
You
that's a good point.
The kids are driving.
The kids aren't driving; they're Do you not know how a bus works?
I'm trying to picture this. No, I can't.
Being a pilot would I bet be cool for like a little bit and then start to suck.
Yeah.
If you're a cruise ship pilot.
A cruise ship pilot.
A cruise ship driver, sorry.
Yeah, fucking captain.
It'd probably be pretty cool to work on a ship. I'd like to work on a ship.
My dad did, like when we were our age, when he was our age.
So he works on a ship now.
It'd be like a really weird way of shaping something.
That's also a weird way. That'd be a weird way to put it. That'd be a weird way to shape my phrase.
Damn.
How long do you work on a ship for?
Just like a summer or something.
That sounds like something I would love to do.
And he went with a bunch of friends, and it was like a Disney sanctioned cruise, so he was like a character, and there's like videos of him
dancing. Never mind.
Really
This sounds a whole lot worse.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So it was
my dick is so soft. Right
it
now.
it wasn't like, he said it was fun, but he said it was also, he had to be like a very enthusiastic all the time.
Duck.
So
Yeah.
no, he wasn't dressed up. Like he just had like a little shirt on or something.
A little tight.
He just had 2 coconuts
He was
on.
ripped.
Yeah, he had a coconut bra on.
Yeah, he was a gigolo on a Disney cruise for the longest time. No, I think it'd be cool to work on a
Cruise.
No, yeah, as a gigolo dressed up as Donald Duck. I met this guy once who told me that he worked on a ship where they would leave from Norway and they would sail down the Atlantic, hitting different islands in the Atlantic, delivering beer, and eventually they would get all the way to the Antarctic and also deliver beer to all the Antarctic research stations, and they would just go up and down making trips twice a year. And the guy said that he had been all over. He'd been all over the coasts of Africa and all of the islands in the Atlantic, and then up the coast of Europe and England all the way back up to Norway. And he said there's 15 of us on the ship, and I'm the cook, and we just chill every day, hanging out, doing what we need to do. But then we're just in the brig, drinking the beer that we're supposed to give to these Antarctic scientists. But that sounded like a really fun thing to do.
That's a very you job.
Yeah,
that's a job that I wouldn't like. But
why wouldn't you like that?
It's just not my thing,
Because you don't like beer.
I don't know. Beer's it's not about anything to do with that. It's just about being on a ship for so long.
You can't get off. I feel if you're driving, you can get off, get out, explore.
There's
it a little bit.
detours.
You can get off a ship.
All you can do is look out in the meantime. But if you look out in a car or a bus,
you can jump off a ship. I mean, if you really don't like the ship that much,
get in a smaller boat.
Yeah, in a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Get in a car.
Mary Poppins it. Just kidding. I was just chitty chitty bang bang. I don't know.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is one of those movies that I know. It's just one of those movies that people know about but don't actually see.
she's seen it.
I remember seeing it way back in the day. I said people.
I know what you meant. I'm saying she's seen it, so talk to her about it.
Yeah, I said people.
Oh.
Sorry, Skunk Ape.
Yeah.
It's the Lizard Man of Lee County, South Carolina. See, I wish Will was here for this one. Because I would have said South Carolina, and he would have told a half-hour story about that.
He would have probably known about it. He'd be like, yeah, we talked about it when we, fraternity. And then, yeah.
Anyways, do you think we've discussed everything that we came to discuss?
I feel like we didn't even talk about the future. Not necessarily that I want to, but like I guess because we all don't really know, so.
That's a good way to end it. A good way to put it at the end.
Yeah.
We didn't resolve anything.
Nothing was resolved.
Nor do we know what we want to do.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing statements?
We have to have one last phrase, and it has to be ridiculous.
Phrase?
Yeah. Like, say it, whatever it is.
If I could change anything on this earth,